Well, good morning. Have you ever done something in your life that you've thought afterwards, what was I thinking? What was going on that caused me to make that decision or do that behavior? I've had that several times in my life, and I've not always been proud of those moments. Sometimes I beat myself up pretty hard. I think scripture is filled with different examples of people that have done things that probably afterwards they wondered to themselves, what was I thinking? I think Peter is a great example. I sometimes think of Peter as bumbling Peter, but Peter was told by Christ that he was going to deny him. Not Christ, but Peter was going to deny Jesus. Well, Peter went, not going to happen. I'm here, thick or thin. I'm with you. Well, there came a moment when Peter was asked if he knew Christ, and Peter said, I don't know him. I can imagine that Peter probably went away and thought, what was I thinking? I said I wouldn't do this, and yet I did it. Why? Well, sometimes I think we need to find out what's in us. I don't think we actually realize our weaknesses, and sometimes we need those moments where we make decisions or we have a behavior that we don't acknowledge or recognize. Perhaps other people recognizes it, but we don't. And the thing is that we need those moments to grow and to mature. I mean, certainly Peter was different after that moment. Peter saw that he wasn't able to do what he said he was going to be able to do. And I'm sure there was some self reflection. But Jesus forgave him, and Peter went on. I think of different people. I think of Saul. I think of David. I think of many who made decisions that probably were not the best decisions in the moment, and yet they thought that it was right. David looked over the terrace and saw Bathsheba and said, she looks good. And he chose to make a decision that wasn't going to be good for him. And I can imagine at one point he said, what was I thinking? Well, the problem was he wasn't thinking. And see, that's the point. We need to think things through sometimes. Young people have a hard time doing that, but old people do too. All of us do. We need to sit and think through beginning to end, and we need to count the costs of decisions that we're making. But too often, they seem good in the moment, don't they? They seem like a good idea, but we don't think about it. We don't take the time to consider it. So that's a challenge to do today, to think about completely, thoroughly, as we're going through our day, the things that we're about to do. Is it profitable? Is it worthwhile? Is it something I really need to do? You'll be surprised. There may be times that you will find different things that, well, you better not make that decision. Think about that today, would you? Until next time, God bless.